And they thought they weren't going to see us return. But here we are.
We are here.
Here we are. It is Astrology and Alchemy with Paranormal Sarah and Matthew Slozier. Guys, welcome so much and thank you for joining us. We do try and be here every Tuesday at 9 p.m., but sometimes because, we're working adults, we are not here, but that's okay. You can still join us on social media. We still share the daily astrology, but being here is really important too. Doing the thing.
Oh, yeah, I haven't been here in a while. And
I,
you were stuck going solo.
well, I
And
did it solo
last
for
week was Halloween, so trick or treat.
right. Last week was Halloween. We kind of shared that, like, we assume most people are going to be out with their children as they should be. For me, each year I usually share, that's when it was my grandmother's birthday growing up for like ever. It was my dad's mom's birthday. So she was really uber Christian, but because it was Halloween, you could go to grandma's and she would have this big party and all the cousins would be there. So like if Halloween fell on a Tuesday night or whatever, she'd always have it that weekend before. Like always the weekend before Halloween, you went to grandma's and everyone had a big party and we would make brooms, the brooms that people hang in their houses and like make fudge. But my grandpa died on her birthday one year. And it was kind of wild because everyone had called to wish grandma a happy birthday and say happy Halloween. And then he had like a hot fudge sundae and rolled back in his rocking chair and had a heart attack. And so, Halloween was always that, like remembering grandma and grandpa. And then a few years ago, my sister-in-law took her own life on Halloween. And it just seems like Halloween and my family is one of those days. It's like, it's either a birthday or a death day. And so isn't that kind of weird? I know there's always like family patterns, but Halloween is just one of those days. So it's probably better that we didn't have a show because I was eating Mr. Goodbars and doing reminiscing. Now, you with your kids being older, Matthew, do you still trick or treat?
Well, we give out the candy, although we don't get a ton of people. It's weird down here because I'm like in the Bible Belt, so like where I grew up, Halloween wasn't really particularly controversial, but here it's like weird. So it's like half the places like participate and half don't. So like you don't get as many kids when only half the houses are lit up. So we had the camper set up in our cul-de-sac with our neighbors, and we just did a big like bonfire in the court and drank and gave out candy and Jello shots for the adults.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it was fun.
That's cool. I love, I'm up on kind of a property way up in the middle of northern Minnesota. There's nobody trick-or-treating up here at all whatsoever. So the kids kind of went out with their kids. This is the first time that my kids were old enough to want to go out with their friends and like me not like lead them as a parent. Like, we want to go out with their friends, Mom. And it was like, okay. And so, no kids coming to trick or treat and no kids to take trick or treating. So it's just kind of a weird space. But I was so glad to see people like chiming in. We still did those little astrological reports. Callie, Sharon, John, all of you guys joining us in the chat room. Welcome. Be sure and share this so that your friends and other astrological people might know about it. We really appreciate you joining us. So November. Remember November. That was the 5th. So that's already behind us. But today, nothing significant astrologically is happening today. Lord knows, I hope we have some of our astrologer friends in here to join us for the week ahead for those little vacant spots. I don't know if we're going to have many, but I know that on Wednesday, November 8th, guys, that's tomorrow. Are we ready? Get your pens and papers out. 1, 2. Oh, only 2 things? That's okay. Okay, so 2 things are happening. The first thing that's going to happen tomorrow morning when we wake up, and so I want to put in here Wednesday. Good to see you, Carson. Wednesday, the first thing is going to be Venus enters into Libra. Whew. Venus into Libra. How do we feel about that?
It's a home sign, so there's extra strength and energy when Venus is in Libra. It rules, or Libra rules Venus. Venus is Libra, however they word it. I don't know. But I see this as, again, it can be money or it can be romance. I think it's more interesting to talk about romance than money. Balance and diplomacy, but the thing about Libra, it's a cardinal sign, so it's going to drive things, but it's going to drive things indirectly. So so I think, I don't know, Libra is they tend to be, I don't view it almost as like I'm from the 80s, so just bear with me. It's like the yuppie sign.
Oh,
in like the Breakfast Club, it's like
got a white leather sofa.
It's like Molly Ringwald's character, it's like the
preppy.
It's like the preppy type sign. So it's gonna be, things are gonna be nice. Things have to look nice. Things have to, and it's that kind of energy in the romantic.
Definite time to get those wreaths out.
Yeah.
Decorate your space, cinnamon on your door, pick out clothes for the season, do your closet tomorrow. But also, I think about like sending maybe a bread or a muffin to teachers, showing signs of affection, love, balance, driven indirectly. What do you think let's wait. Let's wait because one more thing is happening tomorrow. Wednesday, and when I kind of look at this situation, I think, oh no. You'll see why when I post it here in the chat room. So Wednesday night, Mercury, which is in Scorpio right now, is going to be sextile Pluto in Capricorn. Any Pluto in Capricorn shift, I always think, what? That's a life shift. That's some kind of a life shift. So knowing that Venus is entering Libra, good time for money, balance, budgeting. And now Mercury in Scorpio. Ooh, that's a mysterious secret about a big life change. What's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Makes me nervous because if anybody remembers, you have to go back and listen. But Pluto, there was a Pluto movement on, I believe, around October 7th, which is all in the news now. So that's when Hamas attacked Israel, and so when it's Pluto stuff, Pluto tends to be big things, and Pluto doesn't give a crap. It's gonna like change things up, and it doesn't really matter what we think about it. It's just gonna happen. Also add, because I think we have some new people. This is just kind of we do the movement and energy. I feel like I'm talking very slow tonight for the week, and so that's the what we do here. And then if we have time at the end, we can pull some cards and do some more specific things. But I know there were some questions in here. Rushikesh is asking about his career, so we'll try to get to those things after we get covering everything from the week ahead. I'll also add, I used to be, because I think I did an event over the weekend, so I think we might have some extra people that I talked to during the event. I was actually skeptical on all these things still. Don't know exactly where I feel it's like the Matrix, learning on like kind of how the Matrix runs. None of these aspects actually cause things, but I feel it's like when the leaves change on a tree, like what's going on right now, colder weather's coming, but the leaves changing don't cause the colder weather. Hopefully that makes sense. But anyway, hello, Holly. Yeah, we have some a lot of new people today. So so anyway, Mercury's communication. Scorpio is very intense. They play their, I'd say, cards close to the vest. It's poker face. What you see isn't necessarily what you're going to get, but there's a hell of a lot of intensity and strategy and thought behind what's cooking with Scorpio. Sextile is removing obstacles. So I view this, whenever I see Pluto stuff, I think like world stage type things. And if you see a lot, I was actually reading a lot of articles actually about the Middle East and the war and things, and they're saying that there's a lot of public statements that countries are making that they're saying the exact opposite in private, but they can't because it'll piss off their citizens. They can't say certain things, but they're sending back signals. And so what I think here is, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the Middle East, but it can be things along this way, is kind of back channel double talk or communications that will lead to some very, very big things happening. But again, what you see isn't necessarily what you're going to get. So you may hear some actors or something, or some people out there saying one thing, but they'll give the green light to something else.
That makes me nervous a little bit. Does that make you nervous?
Yeah, I think I've always said I felt like 2025 is when the crap was going to start to hit the fan, but I feel we might start seeing. I think we're starting to see the chessboard get kind of set up for some bad stuff, and just see so folks know, 'cause it's gonna come close. I forget exactly when it happens, but it's pretty close. Pluto moving into Aquarius is going to be the beginning of kind of bad stuff happening, but then when we get Pluto in Aquarius and Neptune in Aries, which I believe happens in 2025. That's like a bad combo. Last time Pluto was in Aquarius, American Revolution. Last time Neptune was in Aries, American Civil War. So, yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
Big stuff starts to happen. And they're both going to be in those spots at the same time.
Revolution. It makes me think of a new Beatles
for
song.
10 years, too. It's not like a quick. Those planets move so slow.
Man. I don't know if you guys can hear that in the background. That's the rain. The rain just like immediately started. Shh. What's that?
Is it cold where you're at now? I know the whole country was like freezing a couple days ago, but now we're almost near 80 again here. Although I'm always cold, so I still got my sweatshirt going on, even though it was like 80 outside today.
We had snow. Around Halloween, and now it's 47. So it went up. So we're having rain. If this were cold like it should be, this would be a foot of snow. Like it would be a ton of snow, but luckily it's not. It's just going to be, hopefully it doesn't freeze. Someone in the chat room said, man, tell me what to expect for Sagittarius. I want you to keep in mind, you guys, some of this is like advanced mathematical stuff. So I wish that I could show you how whenever you get like an individual session with Matt or I, or the both of us, we do individual sessions together as well, that what we are looking at is, it's almost as if, in algebra, you have A plus B on one side, and then A plus B on the other, and you want them to equal each other, like ideally, right? Like you want there to be balance, like Libra season. And over here is your birth chart, your energy, your chemical makeup, your little imprint of the way things were when you were born, and where the planets were and all that jazz when you were born. And then over here on this equation is the planets as they are today, as they're moving, and what we're reporting now here. And so when you say like, what is it for, someone like me, maybe a Sagittarius, that's going to be one little part of what you're going through. But then as it's relevant to what's happening over here, there's a balance, which is why it is the same for everyone externally, but it's not the same for everyone internally. And the way that it affects us all differently is kind of unique. It's really a predictable thing. I would say in sociology, it's a huge indicator of change, sociological change. And Thursday,
energetic nudges. These are, it's not going to force you to do anything, but these are going to be like, some people say, like full moon and emergency rooms and stuff. It's like that kind of thing. There's just a little nudges towards people being maybe a little more prickly on one day, or, yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. See? Welcome, Mary. And thank you, Holly, for the questions. Please keep those coming, guys. And don't forget to share. That's, of course, how we get this message and this show out to those people who are looking to share and learn about astrology as well. So please do that. And don't forget that share button is free, but it means so much to us. It's priceless, really. So let us continue. So Thursday, there's just one dot. So if you're joining us live, put a piece of paper in front of you, or text yourself or email yourself. I put it on Excel spreadsheet, a Word doc that goes out to all the people in my little witches coven, right? And we make these predictors and we look at it and we say, oh, we already know that this is going to happen. So on Thursday, we've got this dot going down, and we already know that on Thursday, this is going to happen. And the first thing that's going to happen, the only thing really that's going to happen astrologically, is that Mercury enters Sagittarius.
We're gonna talk some Sag stuff.
So that is a Sagittarius related thing. But it's also, I always think Mercury, I think of your throat. I think of your throat chakra. I think of communication. And then that's entering into a fire sign, a mutable fire sign. So what does that mean?
So I like to say, and I feel like I haven't talked about some of these signs in a while. So Gemini and Sag I view as like the life of the party, but Sag is the one, or Gemini is the one that's going to like work the whole room and, you know, be the conversationalist and say lots of things. And Sag is the one that's going to be like, hey, everybody, we're going to jump out the window into the pool kind of thing and stuff. It's the bungee jumping sign. It's because it's fire and it's mutable fire. It's action oriented and it's an explorer ruled by like the ninth house. So it's open to try different things and new different things. So yeah, it's kind of like, sure, why not? So that being said, we're now in a communication space that's going to be just, you know, exploring things. So like on one level it can be, hey, if I say this, what's going to happen? And so it's that kind of a little bit of troll energy, I would say, on this. Not in a way of deliberately trying to get somebody upset. I would say that's more of a Scorpio or an Aquarius that would do that, to, you know, say something to try to trigger somebody. This is more of a, I wonder what'll happen. So
Trolling. That's what I'm putting.
it's like that, trolling. You know, exploring, just try it. That could, you know, give you the light bulb, or it could burn your house down, you know, just, but the point is actually in the exploration, not the goal of what's being made. It's the experience is what drives Sag.
I have to share how funny and again the synchronicity is. And we know this for certain because I did my astrological planning at the very beginning of the month. And so people were joining me for my live stream where I just sit there and dilly dally and I fill this whole thing in and they see what I put down. And I put for today. And I did this, 2 weeks ago. The thoughts will be optimistic and philosophical, maybe even a little preachy as we search for the meaning of life. And I put, because of course I'm a little partial to the Don't Panic Hitchhiker's Guide space. But I put 42 in my shadow work space because this is, the answer to everything, the answer to the universe. But it's, you've got to have the right question. You've got to have the right question. And so I really think that that's going to be important to think about on Thursday. Okay, Friday.
So yeah, I was just gonna say. So keep in mind on that when we give like more personal advice and things. This is another one. I give this advice a lot for some. I know we got a lot of new folks in here, so I'll say this a lot. But this is one of these, pause and breathe before you react to anything, because realize people may be saying things to you and throwing things out there just to see how you're going to react. So don't feed into it. So it, easier said than done, but if you can keep an eye on that on Thursday, as to particularly if it's, communication isn't always verbal. So, if this is a chat or a email or something, this is definitely one of those, sleep on your response.
I'm going to add that.
And I guess also because this energetic nudge is going, maybe think twice before you send something.
Ooh, think twice. Another. How does that go?
Yeah.
What's the lyric?
You'll never get me to sing, but I always find it interesting.
What is the lyric?
It's just another day in paradise.
Oh.
Another day for you in paradise. Yeah, because the homeless person and you have it all nice and
another day for you in paradise. That's what I'm hearing play.
Right, Beth, we're on Sag now, not Scorps.
Yeah, Thursday, right. Mercury entering Sagittarius. Still Scorpio season, technically. for those Scorpios out there celebrating their birthdays and such. But Friday, we're already into Friday, so please put a dot down on that piece of paper you're working with. And there's only one thing to take into account for Friday. One thing. And that one thing is, let's put it up there. Don't
send some good vibes to Steph.
Oh no, why? Sitting with family bedside as our members getting ready.
But yeah, I just wanted to send out some empathy.
Yeah. Dang.
I'll also add, I feel like I'm totally derailing your conversation today because I haven't been on for a couple weeks, but my son, I just can't get this. I hope I don't mispronounce this on this, but he mispronounced Sagittarius not that long ago, and he pronounced it Sagittarius, and so like I can't keep. Yeah, he's like that sign, the archer and the dog, Sagittarius, and I'm like, oh yes,
Titties.
Yeah, no, you just can't. And he wasn't doing it to be funny. It's actually how he pronounced it. And so when you're saying all the Sag stuff, I'm in my head going, Sagittarius.
You can never unhear it.
Oh, we got another one here. Great. So I'll let you laugh and I'll go through. So Friday, and I'm going to go ahead and mispronounce it. We have Mercury and Sagittarius squared Saturn and Pisces. So. All right, let me regroup.
Sorry. Okay, I'm so sorry.
So we still have to communicate so that everything I said about the Mercury thing, that's everything I talked about on Thursday. That stays. Square is actually like conflict and opposition, and Saturn is rules, and Pisces is the last sign of the cycle. And so I always call that kind of deathbed perspective. It's kind of like my time here is almost done, so I'm going to take one for the team. So it's very introspective. It's very artsy, but there's always this kind of sacrificial energy to it as well. So Saturn, who's rules based in the sacrificial, it's almost like I'll be willing to pass a rule or obey a rule that maybe doesn't help me, but it's for the greater good. That's in conflict with this communication in this exploratory area. So I will call this verbally advocating for yourself, because it is a fire sign. So they'll tend to be, a little more aggressive, having a conflict with this for the greater good. So, this ongoing kind of discussion or debate over A might be good for everybody, but hey, this is going to, it's going to screw me. So I'm going to speak out against it.
Man, it makes me think of that 5/1.
Not everybody liked that
man
pronunciation, so we're getting good feedback in the chat.
I'm never going to be able to unhear that. I mean, I can't even start thinking about it.
That's why I shared it. The whole time you're talking Sag, and Holly's in there talking Sag, and in the back of my head is that pronunciation, and I'm trying to keep a straight face.
I can't even think about it without laughing, so I can't think about it. When you said a debate about, the greater good, I think of the great trolley or train debate of, you've got 5 people laying out on the track or on one side, and then one person laying out on the track over here. And the one person over here, but you don't know those 5 people over there. So if you're standing at the little lever to where the train's supposed to hit one person or the other, you know which way you're supposed to do it or however that thing goes.
We had one of these when I first started. Oh, go ahead. I thought you were done.
No, yeah.
We had one like that when I first started working years and years ago, and it was an interesting debate. And there was like 5 people you could survive. You could pick one to live, and there were like 5 different people. And what the debate boiled down was basically there was this a-hole, but he was close to curing cancer, and then there was this father with like a family of like 6 that he was the sole. I forget if he was like a single parent or whatever the deal was. But basically,
right.
You'd have six kids totally impoverished if he died, and that's
right.
Generally, the argument would boil down to those 2 out of the 5, which kind of sucks for the other 3, but same kind of concept.
Same concept. So we have the trolley conundrum. Man. Some major interesting things happen and now this is a Friday. This is this Friday. So the great debate about life and kind of, the greater good in this conflict through advocacy advocacy. This is when you mention revolution and some things of that, kind of happening on the day before. I see some of this really kind of panning out both in a macro, but also in a micro, right? I see it happening as wide scale world things, but also nationally, but also like states' rights. And then also maybe those of us joining can start to see how it applies in our own life. So Saturday, we only have one thing happening. People are going to think that I'm doing drugs or something, I swear, but I have a dog hair in my nose and it's just going to bother me all night. I can feel it blowing in the laughter. Okay. Saturday.
I missed a week because I was recovering from the flu, and
right. And people in your family still struggling with it.
Yeah. So it's
So we're keeping our thoughts with you, Matt, too. Okay, Friday. That's this Friday, guys. Mercury in Sagittarius square Saturn in Pisces. We already said that. So then what happens on Saturday? Boom. There it is. The one thing that's happening on Saturday that we want to keep our eyes out for. Mars. That's the fighting planet, guys. That's what we fight about. That's our battle cry. Is in Scorpio. I put my little finger out. So we're fighting in Scorpio. And it's opposition Uranus and Taurus, which is still, I believe, I'll have to check, but I believe that that's still retrograde, Uranus and Taurus. But I'll have to check. But Mars and Scorpio, what do we have to say about that?
So opposition, I think a lot of people think of opposition as what really square is. Square is actually kind of in conflict with each other. Opposition is more two sides of the same coin. If you remember, at least there used to be when I was a kid or in like middle school, these, people would have those little like necklaces that would complete. It's like the two signs, the opposites attract, but they complete each other. That's kind of the opposition here. So in this case, Scorpio's opposite of Taurus. So we have Mars, which is action oriented, in Scorpio, which again, the biggest thing I say on Scorpio, and so it's funny because Holly was saying about I don't know, she said apologize for being a Sag, or she said something like that. I'm like, it's always the water signs, and particularly I feel like Scorpios tend to get the most prickly about us talking about Scorpio. But the biggest thing to remember about them is its intensity. They're one of the most intense signs, but it's hidden intensity. You're not going to know where. You're not going to really know what they're thinking or what they're doing. They do a very good job of kind of hiding their that intensity and their intention.
Yeah, you don't hear a darn scorpion sneaking up on you.
And so, this action, I'd say whatever they're planning on doing, and Mars is action, you don't know exactly what it's going to be, but it has tension with Uranus is kind of the wild card. It's out of the box. It's the rebel, but Taurus is the big bull on the hill, not wanting to do much, and Taurus is very indulgent. So I say Taurus is stable and indulgent, and Uranus is kind of rebelling. So I view this as rebelling by not doing. So I'd say the tension here is between whatever Scorpio is planning on doing versus deciding screw it. And the thing about this one, this is why this gets kind of complicated and why I'm kind of struggling how to word it, is it's kind of the action that you don't know coming, having tension with, do I go ahead and do the action or not? But since it's Scorpio energy, you'll have no idea. So people are going to have these internal debates of, don't I? And we'll just have to wait till Saturday to see who chooses to do what.
Ooh, what I love is this is 11/11. So whether or not we're numerologically going to jump on that angel card or not, it will be 11/11, 2/3, 23. And I had written down sloth, to do or not to do. That is the great question. But also plan to unplan. So maybe if you're making these big plans, you're thinking about that, you're thinking about this, wait until Sunday the 12th. Sunday the 12th, when nothing major again, I wish we had some of our astrologers here in the chat room double checking me, especially because hell, I don't know half the time. No, I'm pretty sure, but whenever I get to something in the astrological calendar that says, hey, Sunday, November 12th, after the great choice day, the great 11/11, be careful, accident prone, that's a Saturday. On Sunday, nothing.
I'm just going to throw out, and just so everyone knows, because I know we have a lot of new people. So how we do this is Sarah, as part of her Gypsy tribe, will go ahead and do this for the month. And so she's got this all laid out. I feel I do better at this not knowing what's coming. So I never look ahead. So I do these cold when she says them. But I'm just going to mention, and there's some irony in me mentioning this because I always downplay this aspect. But I will say we haven't talked about any moon stuff, and moon should change every 2 to 3 days. So
let's put that on Sunday then.
Okay. So is there a moon? Is there a moon shift on?
Well, there's about to be a big moon shift. So I will at least say for Sunday, let's put this down. So for those of us putting a little dot down and wanting to really learn, we're learning something. It is a waning. And the sun,
are they both in Scorpio?
They're both in Scorpio.
Okay.
The moon and sun are both in Scorpio, and it's just the last little sliver before the big new moon. Welcome, chat. It's so good to see you. So that waning moon and sun in Scorpio. What would you maybe add for that?
Well, this is kind of cool because I always view your sun is your outer world and your moon is kind of your inner emotional world.
Yeah.
And so you have unity right now, and that they're both aligned in the same energy, and that energy is intense. The other thing I'll talk about when I say about water signs is, and I won't go through all of them, but Scorpio, I say, is like a river in that you see the water going on the top, but you have no idea what those currents are doing underneath. And that's kind of the Scorpio piece. So once again, we have good alignment, but you're not going to be able to read people on this. I guess that's the biggest advice I'd give with a lot of the things this week is this is a bad week to try to read people because people aren't going to necessarily be telegraphing what they're thinking or what their opinions are on things.
And by definition, they should be different. You know, that sun and moon both being in Scorpio means that you've got a river and a river running with water. Just getting more water running in there. It's like you're just going to have more of a current, perhaps more of a stronger pull.
That intensity. So that means, emotions are going to be, again, it's this big energetic nudge. That's what everybody is feeling. And so that there's going to be a lot of emotional intensity during this time. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So emotions could be running high. Probably not a good time to have a tough conversation with someone.
No. Nope. Sunday, it'll be kind of a, I would say emotional and mysterious. So just maybe don't give into those pusher pulls. Take Sunday, take a pint of ice cream and just be emotional in your bedroom by yourself. Now, Monday, 2 things. So put 2 dots down if you are looking out. Holly said, so our clairs are blocked in a sense.
I wasn't sure if that was a typo.
Right. So our clairs, what would clairs be?
Holly, if you can clarify that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what that would be. Just keep swimming. Said Mary. Man, I think Dory recently, and then somebody was going down the conspiracy wormhole of Ellen and her issues, and then that she's in a kids show about Finding Nemo, and that it's just keep swimming, and like all this. It was so sad, and I was like, don't do that to my heart. And it was a wild place. Anyway, Sunday for ice cream, says Mary. Yep, that's the way. Clairvoyant abilities. Thank you. So our clairs. Oh, okay. Clairs short for clairvoyant, clairaudient,
Funny, I've
clairsentient,
never
all these.
heard it referred that way, so I
I
apologize.
hadn't either. So our clairs are blocked in a sense. No, quite the opposite. Over flooded. Instead of hearing, "Hi, how are you? This is your spirit guide." No, I'm your spirit guide. Well, we're both our spirit guide. You're going to hear, and you're going to hear a bunch of things. And it's going to be all sorts of things screaming through the water. So over emotional, over intensity, hearing and sensing a lot of things, probably headaches, joint pain, inflammation, feeling.
Tough time to be an empath too.
Yeah.
Empaths are going to want to self-isolate, just stay in bed on Sunday.
Isolation. I don't want to use the word trigger, but maybe. Isolation moment. I'll put moment. Now, Monday. Great question, by the way. Monday. Two things happening. First one, big. Boom. First one's kind of a big thing. So let's just put that out there. Boom. New moon in Scorpio. Go get your candles at the dollar store. Go do what you got to do. Get your incense, your rocks. I always go to the store up the way and get a new rock for my collection. So if people are like, how many rocks do you actually have? I'd be like, well, if I think the fact that I get a rock on a new moon and a full moon, and there's about 2 or 3 a month, and that's 12 a year. So let's just say 28, just to be kind, a year. And I've been doing it for almost 40 years. That's a lot of rocks. That's a lot of rocks, crystals and such. But new moon in Scorpio. What do you do for the new moon?
It's embarrassed to say for any folks out there, I don't do a whole lot with the moon, but in this case, I always look at the full moon and call it that cycle. So this is a Taurus cycle. So this is all about what makes you. This is all about indulging the senses. That's all about what Taurus is at. So I view this as getting kicked off with, again, that Scorpio energy. So that intensity, what's deep inside you, that's going to fulfill that indulgence. What do you want to indulge in? And then it'll build during the course of the lunar cycle until it peaks at the full moon on indulging.
When I think of this nationally, when I think of this happening on a Monday morning, November 13th, when I think about this happening, looking at the Farmer's Almanac, the Uranus, Jupiter, Aries, Chiron, Neptune, 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, like 5 kind of things over here on this teeter-totter, they're in retrograde. So they're, highlighted and kind of special, kind of meant that we're not necessarily getting guidance from them in the sky. And then on the other end of the teeter-totter, you have harmonia, like these wild asteroid belts and smaller planets, and then the moon, the sun, Mars, Ceres, and Mercury, all direct, sitting over here on Scorpio. So when you say that Taurus cycle, all those other guys over there hanging out in Taurus and Aries on the other end of the spectrum, on the other end of the night skies constellation chart, on the other end of the teeter-totter, there's that balance between certain energies where the anger, the I want, I need, Neptune's over there too. So I think of like drugs, addiction, all the stuff you want. When you mention indulgences, I want this, I want that, I want more Starbucks. The things that we want is over here fighting with our feelings. The moon, I don't know. I just feel like I should be doing this. The sun, what are people going to think of me? My ego, what I'm going to have to put that on Facebook, Mars, what are we fighting for? What are we fighting about? What are some of our traumas and our, scars? And Mercury, what is it that people are saying we should do? Didn't you hear? Don't you say? Didn't you get that advice? Everybody's sticking their neck out saying what you think you should think, you should think, you should think. And they're facing off with each other.
It's like the difference on like a Saturday morning or even like a Saturday during the day of I'm going to get up and like run 5 miles and exercise my ass off and read a book versus screw it, I'm sleeping in late and I'm just going to sit and watch TV. It's like that tension is Scorpio versus Taurus. And I picked those examples because of the intensity on it. Like I feel like the improvement things that a Scorpio would do versus the indulgent things would be very personal, not necessarily for the whole world to see. They're just going to go ahead and do it, which is different. The two really intense signs, in my opinion, are Scorpio and Cap. But a Cap would do things for everybody to see. You know, they'd be, look at me, look at all these things I'm doing. Whereas Scorpio would do this and I just ripped my arm open. Scorpio would be more. Yeah, I had a bite. So pardon me, I just don't want to bleed on my shirt. Yeah. So like Scorpio would be more, I'm going to do these things for my own self-improvement, and Taurus is more indulgent, where like the Cap would be more like, yeah, I want to do this for my improvement, but I want the world to see what I'm doing.
Yeah. Put it out there. Put it on Facebook. Give me a pat. Show the world. Do the things. For real.
They'd be the ones announcing to everybody that I'm running 5 miles today.
I did that. Look at what I did.
And I did it at 6 a.m. while you were all sleeping.
Yep. So while you were out there doing that, I was doing this.
The Scorpio will just do it and not let anybody know.
That's right. My dad's a Scorpio. He's looking to go hunting. And I know everyone's been asking him, you know, because he survived a kidney transplant and he got kind of sick with that. And he's been struggling. And we're now it's going on 10 months post kidney transplant. And he's finally, after 10 months, starting to gain weight and see a little response. So he's packed up his camper. He's ready to rock. He doesn't give a shit. He's going. He doesn't care if people say he shouldn't be going. He's going. And he's not really telling anybody because he doesn't want it to be a big deal. He doesn't want people to make it a big celebratory experience. He doesn't want people showing up to, you know, ruin it. He just wants to quietly go hunting in the night. And here I am advertising it. It's okay.
Here I am advertising, because I'm a Cap. I'm advertising that because this would be curious. This is like, let's see what Matt's expression is going to be. I had learned that sanitizer can stop like the bleeding and stuff on things. So
is that true?
It seems to work for me. I don't know. I'm not telling anybody else, but so I'm going to put a little bit of sanitizer on this. So, you know, it's going to burn like hell. So if you see me make a weird expression, that's what
if you guys are watching the video, you get to see extra gore tonight.
I just put alcohol in my wound.
Okay. Now, Monday. Yeah, you're right. I can't even tell. Look at you. Monday night, something else happens. Ooh. Mars and Ceres, little things, but the sun mostly is what we're concerned about. The sun is in Scorpio still. We knew that. We just talked about it. But it's officially in opposition of Uranus and Taurus retrograde. So when we talk about that push and pull and that pull,
was it Mercury the last time? That was because it's basically the same stuff. It's just now it's the sun. So
yep, now it's the sun.
Yeah, it's just again that tension. I think we talked about it with something else earlier. I think there's been a couple things that have had this. So it's that tension between the intensity of Scorpio and the stable and indulgent. But since it's Uranus, I'm going to rebel by not doing. So I feel this is a weird one because since Scorpio doesn't really telegraph what they're doing, it's like it's so weird. I'm going to rebel by not doing something, but you're not going to know I did it anyway. So it's weird. It's one of these ones where like to the person on the Scorpio side of this, they're going to know they're rebelling against you, but the person that they're doing it towards probably will be completely oblivious. So I hope it satisfies the Scorpio that's doing it and making them feel better, but the person they're rebelling against probably is going to have no clue.
Watch your back. Put out your evil eye, people. Put out your evil eye. Evil eye. Okay. Now, we are going to post Tuesday, and then we're going to be able to wrap this up with probably about 5 minutes for the end of the show for anybody remaining who's lingered that would like a reading. We might have time to actually.
I feel we may have lost that one person that was asking, but we'll still do it for anybody who's interested.
Yep. The early bird might get the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. You got to wait, guys. You got to wait through it because we want people to be able to get their weekly astrological breakdown. Matt and I have been doing this for years now, which is kind of crazy. But the idea to be able to look ahead for 7 days at a time. Now we do it monthly, we do it yearly. But the podcast allows us to do it every 7 days We do it on Odyssey Radio. It streams on all the places, guys. Subspace. You can anywhere that you download your favorite podcast, iHeartRadio, iTunes, wherever you're at, you can download these for free.
It's still on my list. This and Sunday Night Dead to like expand it to more podcast things. I just have never gotten around to doing it yet.
Well, we're doing it. It's happening.
Maybe when Uranus gets out of Taurus, I'll get off my butt and actually do something.
The sloth will move. But November 14th, that'll be Tuesday. And I had written nothing major was happening, but I went back and looked. And because we are wanting to do that, we want to double check the moon. It'll have been a new moon on Monday. The witches will have been out dancing around naked. Now it'll be Tuesday, Titty Tuesday. And the moon will be waxing into Sagittarius. Saggy titties.
Saggy titties.
Saggy titties. Sagittarius. Gosh, I just can't wait to tell my best friend who's a Sagittarius. I don't know. But the moon will be waxing. It'll be a small sliver in the sky. We'll start to see it poking out again like a little fingernail in the night sky. It'll be waxing into Sagittarius. What do we have to say about such things?
All right. Well, something to keep in mind for the new folks, the moon changes every like 2 to 3 days. So unlike Pluto and these big profound things, the moon are emotional changes, but it's very quick. It's very fleeting. So these are very subtle energetic things you may feel, but we've talked a little bit about Sagittarius, that it's exploratory in nature. It's sure, why not? Let's try some things. And so that is just basically the emotional nudge you're going to get when the moon's in there, of just being open to new things. So it's moving from that quiet intensity of Scorpio to, hey, sure, why not? So whereas you wouldn't want to be approaching people, I still stay away from having tough discussions if you can during Scorpio season in general, because I feel like the cards are stacked against you. But it's going to be a little bit better to do it on Tuesday than any other time during the week.
Yeah, Tuesday would be a great day if you're wanting to get that person out of the house. You say, hey, you want to go out and get some chicken wings? Tuesday is going to be the time to do it. And then that will have been a complete week. And I would say in this next week, the one thing you really want to look out for is that new moon. That new moon in Scorpio is going to be a big one. And that's on Sunday, Monday, right? Going into that space. And then the other thing that we kind of talked about was that Wednesday, that's tomorrow morning, guys. Tomorrow morning into afternoon is that Pluto in Capricorn, Mercury in Scorpio, where the last time that these kind of particular things were chiming in the astrological galaxy spaces, we were having attacks. We were having some of the things happening about a month and a half ago, kind of kicking off some of those revolutionary spaces. And that is upon us as we speak. So keep that in mind. Please be safe. That's tomorrow morning. And I do have my tarot deck. Did you want to say anything for the week, Matt? Maybe what we should expect or think overall?
No, just say in general, keep in mind, I really, now that these other things are going on in the world, I'm really nervous about when, and we have to look up to see when it happens. I don't know off the top of my head, but when Pluto moves back into Aquarius for good, I think, it might not be the exact day, but very close to that. I feel like big crap's going to go down. And this won't stop bleeding, but as long as I don't get blood on my cards.
I guess.
Also, it's interesting when we pick cards, some of the long-time folks know. It is crazy. It doesn't happen every week, but it is crazy how often we pick the same card. So we doing one for Holly? I'm assuming she's asking for...
Yeah, and I was looking, it said the Pluto will be in Aquarius from March 23rd through June 11th, January 20th, 2024 through September 1st, 2024, and then November 19th, 2024 through March 8th, 2043.
Okay, so that's the permanent. So what was that last one? When is that? That's
November 19th, 2024.
Okay, so we got about a year before it really... But I feel like all the chess pieces, just watch, like as it's leading up, you're going to start seeing hints as to what's going down. All right.
Okay, Holly. Pulling a card for Holly. Boom. Ooh, good one. What do you have?
I have Magician.
Ooh. Okay, the Magician. I'll let you go first. I love the Magician.
All right. Yeah, magician is interesting. I might have a struggle a little bit describing this card because in my deck I have certain cards that represent certain people, and so this is my card. But so I feel weird kind of describing how I feel this. But this is right after the Fool, so this is starting to kind of get skills and things. Fool is kind of like the start of the journey, and magician is okay. You're not totally clueless, but you're just starting to kind of build your skills and things. So I would say this is whatever your question was about, Holly. I would say that you are beginning to move in the direction you want to.
Right. No, and I would say you have the skills to do it. And I wonder who's influencing you. I always think of the magician. I always think of, David Copperfield being out there and having this cool skill set, but like who is it that you're entertaining, or what is your purpose in that king court? And I guess that's where I look at what I pulled for you, which was the Knight of Pentacles. Pentacles is the earth space. It's a lower arcana card. So it would maybe be suggesting that your thoughts, your intentions, those quiet, silent things you've been planning in your mind are now starting to really move. The knight is the guy on horseback getting ready to take that thing that he's been investing and go, see, and he's going to take it to the next court over. And he's really ready to do stuff. He's even got his sit there. He's cutting stuff. He's harvesting. This is stuff really coming to fruition that we've been thinking and brainstorming about for a while. So kind of a cool card for the magician.
We got one for Steph, and then I'm going to say maybe we'll go back and look that initial question about the career. I say we pull one for that too, but let's do Steph first.
We've got one for Steph.
Think about your question. I think it'd be really cool if we pulled the same card again, but it's been a while. All right, I got 9 of Wands.
Oh, I got 10 of Swords.
Oh,
so kind of an interesting boom.
Sorry, Steph. This is not a good combo. 9 of Wands. You see him kind of in the traditional deck. It's a guy with kind of like a bandage over his head, and he's just kind of like this. This I always view 9 of Wands as well, and I guess this makes sense with what you already shared with us. You're navigating a challenge, so it's not necessarily that you're defeated. I would say that's 10 of Swords. So sorry. But 9 of Wands, I view as you're in the middle of and navigating a challenge.
Yeah. You're moving all of your shit up to the upstairs office because yes, you did get promoted, but you haven't even unpacked all your shit into your new office and you've already got stuff to do and it's a new job. So let's wow, top of Mount Everest, but 90% of the way there. And when I think of the 10 of Swords, kind of like you described, and I love how this illustrator does it, because the 10 of Swords is like the resolution of an argument, the end of the argument, the stamp on, those divorce papers, or the end of that fight. This is the battle is done, but all the swords are in there. And look at this person. I'm here. Like, you're not dead. I think of Jody Messina's song, Bring on the Rain, is what I think of when I think of this song. It's the all the conflict and stuff has come to a resolution. It's not entirely over, but the fighting is done with. And so thank God for that.
Black Knight and Monty Python, the Holy Grail.
But I'm not dead yet. No, not that part. I'll bite your legs off.
He's got no appendages left, but he's like, come back here.
You're a loony.
All right, yeah. that person that asked about, I don't want to mispronounce the name, that asked about their career in case they're
the very first person saying, hey, can I get a reading?
All right, let's.
So for all the people who we don't know your name, wanting to especially know about career, because there's a lot of career stuff happening right now. There's a lot of ends and beginnings right now to big life stuff.
And I always kind of just give like a 1 or 2 word theme for my cards, but I got 3 of Pentacles, which is in my view, the planning card. So I'd say career-wise plan. And then that leads to
the Knight of Wands, which might be that whether you're making those plans or not, kind of like of our astrology this week, the stuff's moving regardless. The Knight of Wands would say you're already, put on horseback and someone slap the hiney. You're out there getting stuff done, doing the stuff, fighting the fight. Not at the top of the mountain yet, not the queen, not the king, not a major life card. But that you're doing a lot. You might even be very exhausted, I would say. So cool. A lot of lizards in that card. Lizards must be that person's spirit animal. All right. We are at the end of our time. Holly says, man, thank you so much. It is a big career move for me. I love hearing that. And Steph and all of you guys for letting us pull you a card. If you'd like a card, if you'd like a reading, if you'd like to take part in our astrological birth chart special, where we can both Matt and I break everything down for you, please let us know. We would love to do that for you. And anything I'm forgetting, Matt, I'm going to go ahead and put where people can find you.
Just Sunday Night Dead. We're doing more from Brushy Mountain, so join us if you like that stuff.
Are you doing a Trans-Allegheny anytime this next 2024?
I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna do at least one trip to Trans-Allegheny. I also want to go to Sweet Springs, which I think is pretty close to it. I've never done Sweet Springs yet, so.
Ooh, that'd be fun too.
Yeah.
All right, guys, mslosier@yahoo.com or theparanormalsarah@gmail.com. And you can feel free to email us either one or wherever you're watching this, whether it be at Subspace, Odyssey Radio, iTunes, whether you're listening on YouTube, on the Paranormal Channel, Astrology and Alchemy, Paranormal Sarah, or the Autumn Moon Astrology. Please, please, please listen, follow along, share, tune in next week. And of course, let us know what you would like to see on the show. We really appreciate you tuning in. That's why we're here, guys. So with that, I hope you have a great week. That's it.
All right. Have a good night, everyone. And ending video comments. Have a great week, folks.